Breaking news, the attorneys general of both Maryland and Washington, D.C. just hit the president of the United States with a lawsuit, essentially accusing President Trump of corruption and demanding his tax returns. Here they were moments ago.
Never in the history of this country have we had a president with these kinds of extensive business entanglements, or a president who refused to adequately distance themselves from their holdings.
You know, the emoluments clauses are a firewall against presidential corruption. And the one thing we know about President Trump is he understands the value of walls. This is one he can't climb over, and it's one he can't dig underneath.
They maintain that President Trump has violated anti-corruption clauses in the Constitution by allegedly accepting millions of dollars in payments and benefits from foreign governments to multiple Trump properties, including that luxury hotel of his there in Washington, D.C. And we just heard the White House response. Here's Sean Spicer from moments ago.
The president's interests, as previously discussed, do not violate the emoluments clause for reasons that length that the Department of Justice filing enumerate in their Friday night filing with respect to the Crew lawsuit. It was the first one. This lawsuit today is just another iteration of the case that was filed by that group Crew, filed actually by the same lawyers. So it's not hard to conclude that partisan politics may be one of the motivations behind the suit. The suit was filed by two Democratic attorney generals. The lawyers driving the suit are an advocacy group with partisan ties. It actually started with a press conference as opposed to filing it, which is interesting.
With me now to discuss, I have Ambassador Norm Eisen, former U.S. ambassador to the Czech Republic, former White House ethics czar, and the chairman of the nonprofit legal advocacy group that we just heard Spicer mention, Crew, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. That organization serves as outside counsel on the lawsuit the attorneys general have filed. And Brian Lanza is with us, former advisor to President Trump's campaign and transition team. So, gentlemen, really great to have both of you on. But, Mr. Ambassador, just because we just heard Sean Spicer referencing your organization, I just want to begin with you. You know, you filed a similar lawsuit in January. I want you to respond to Sean Spicer and then the White House. And, you know, do you believe that the president is showing disregard for the Constitution?
Well, there's no question about it, Brooke. Thanks for having me back. Sean Spicer is wrong. The Constitution says the president cannot accept foreign government payments and benefits or those from the states of the Union, foreign or domestic emoluments. He's doing it. There's no doubt he's doing it. As one of the clients today said, Attorney General Racine of D.C., it's as if he's hanging out a for sale sign on the lawn of the White House. You just can't do that. We saw with the travel ban. This is a president who doesn't care about constitutional violations, and he's going to be slapped down the same way by General Racine and by General Frosch in this case, as he was in that travel ban case now by two circuits. And I do have to correct several false statements in Mr. Spicer's remarks. First, Crew is a bipartisan organization. Myself and the Bush ethics czar, Richard Painter, are the chair and vice chair. Other Republicans serve on our board. Second, there was no lawsuit that was filed after the press conference. The lawsuit was filed in the morning, and as is normal, we know the White House doesn't like it when people talk to the press, but as is normal, there was a press conference afterwards. And then finally, I have to say that I think that the merits of the case are going to be demonstrated, and the Justice Department's brief from Friday has been very widely criticized because the exceptions would consume the rule. The Justice Department has gone too far. So that that's where the case stands. And I should add one last thing. It's not the same lawyers. In New York, you have hotels and restaurants who are represented by one set of counsel. Here you have two states who are represented by AGs. Crew is outside counsel in both.
All right, so we heard you speak. Brian Lanza, this is your turn. I want you to feel like you can totally respond. I mean, you heard what the ambassador said about the for sale sign outside the White House. How do you see it?
Yeah, listen, it's silly. I mean, this is partisan-based politics at its best. I mean, you stated it earlier in a couple previous segments that this is about the tax returns. I mean, the bottom line is the American public has already made their decision on tax returns. It wasn't important for them to have access to it as they were making a decision for choosing the president, and they're very comfortable with the decision they've made. Now, as for the partisan politics, it was two partisan office holders that pushed forward this lawsuit. I mean, we know how this is going to end. They want to keep on bringing up these issues going forward. At the end of the day, you know, we're going to let the legal process take its course. And I'm not an attorney, but my understanding is the way this is going to work is they're going to look at the facts and going to decide that Trump has in fact put together a managed trust that's handled by his kids. He's allowed to communicate with them, and he's done everything with it within the law that's required of him. And what we saw last week in the Attorney General's was their argument stating that case, and it's been strengthened since then.
Mr. Ambassador, I want you to respond, though, to that very question, because, listen, a lot of Republicans are saying, hang on a second, is this really about foreign payments, or is this really about a federal judge being able to finally turn those tax returns over? What is this really about?
This is about defending the Constitution. Just like the Muslim ban cases, the president is flagrantly violating a core constitutional principle that you can't take these foreign and other governmental payments. It is like the Muslim ban case. It is not a close question. And it's not partisan. Painter and I disagree on everything. He's a conservative Republican. I'm a Democrat. Crew is a nonpartisan organization. He worked for Bush. I worked for Obama. But we agree on this. The Constitution applies to all Americans. No individual, even the president, is above the law. The president has had a series. That's how he got in obstruction trouble, Brooke, because he has disdain for the law. And the common thread, the mystery, you pointed it out before, is he receiving, as his sons have said, one son said, Russian financing is very important to their businesses. They've made a number of references to that. Is the common thread? We don't know the answer.
No, I mean,
but
listen,
is the common thread? Please let me finish.
Play out. We're going to let that investigation play out. We all need the facts on that.
Let's see if that's the common thread.
But Brian, here's my question to you.
Talk about that
here's my question to you, Brian. Hang on, I want you to respond to him. But I do want to ask, how could the president be totally separated from his business when his sons are still giving him updates?
Let's address this. The president has set aside an ethics lawyer to work him through the process and how to deal with his various business dealings. You're right. We've never had this situation before because we've never had a president so financially successful in the business world where he has all these complex organizations and complex businesses out there. That's why he set up the parameters that existed in December, and we've seen them. And the process is what the process is. And what we're dealing with is partisan politics. You may say we have bipartisan politics, but you do have a Bush administration a former Bush administration person, who certainly doesn't give us any latitude with anything, and they have their agenda. Their agenda is to slow down Donald Trump's agenda here in Washington, D.C., which is to bring the necessary changes so that the middle class can be restored. And if it's a lawsuit today, if it's a lawsuit tomorrow, they don't care. That's their priority, is to slow down any progress that the American people voted for in November.
But just quickly, if the president wants to stay clean on all things business related, why is he still getting those updates from his sons?
We don't know that he is, but he's certainly entitled to with the parameters that are set up with legal.
We do know. The sons have admitted it. We do. Listen, the sons have admitted that they're briefing him and giving him financial information, and it's terribly wrong. He shouldn't be able to get Chinese trademarks that they denied and then give him. They gave those to his daughter. Money is pouring in. The Saudis have spent $250,000 at that hotel. Forgive me for interrupting, but it's an outrageous violation of our Constitution, and it will be slapped down. I think these are two brave public servants who've stepped forward, General Frosch and General Racine, and the courts are going to slap this violation down just like they did the Muslim ban.
Listen, I think we've been waiting for a long time for people to push back on President Trump, and we've now seen it during the campaign, and we've now seen it in 6 months. It's a lot harder than I think it is, and this lawsuit's just going to be batted down just like some of the other things that have been batted down.
Brian Lanza, Norm Eisen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.